Hey everybody, it's Ted Bogert with The TED Show. This is episode 10, if you can believe it. And I am with my friend, the beautiful Irish lass, Nicole Dupre. Which I had to ask her how to pronounce that because I always said Dupree. But
okay.
Nicole Dupre. And I've got to bring this up. So Nicole and I have been friends for, I'd say, a year or so, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
met, we think, through Alice. Hi, Alice, if you're on. And I'm going to try to bring everybody up in just a second. Here it is. And you guys know that we have to bring this up in order for us to see your questions and comments. Look, see, we're live here, Nicole.
Oh.
And Nicole and I met at a July 4th party, we think, maybe at John's place.
Yeah, it was
and Alice was there.
Fireworks I've ever seen. Being
Best
higher
fireworks.
Over Lake Eola, it was pretty
It's
great.
amazing. Okay, here we go. Michael Garcia says, "Hey, love you too, Michael."
Hi.
So isn't that cool?
It is cool.
So,
it's my first, I think this is like my first Facebook Live.
So I was a little bit scared of it when I first got on here because I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing. Maybe I'm still looking like I don't. But anyway, enough about me because it's called The TED Show, but it's really supposed to focus on you.
Oh.
So I met you, and when I met you, you were Empress of Orlando makeup.
Makeup, yeah.
And as much as I could probably use a makeup artist on the show, my $5 budget won't allow it. So tell us a little bit about how you got into makeup. First of all, how did you get to Orlando?
I moved here after high school with some friends that were going to Full Sail. And after they graduated and everything, 15 years later, I am still here.
You were 12 when you got here.
Exactly, 12. So about 7 or 8 years ago, I decided that I really wanted to pursue makeup and skincare, actually, is really what I wanted to do. My stepmom is Japanese, and she was an esthetician in Japan.
Wow.
And I grew up with them in Atlanta. And
yeah, your skin's flawless.
Thank you. It's all because of her. And so I decided that I would go back to school and thought I wanted to be an esthetician. I went to skincare school at the Paul Mitchell School Academy.
Awesome.
Then I got a scholarship to the International Dermal Institute before I realized that I didn't want to do that spa care. But that was right in the boom of like when makeup was becoming big, when that makeup aisle went from 5 products to like 500.
Right.
So having that advanced knowledge of like the chemicals and the product knowledge really kind of laid the groundwork for getting the type of clients that I ended up having.
And so you got in and you said, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to do just makeup for weddings, which you don't?
No, I worked at a cosmetic company, and then I decided that I wanted to learn more. So I took a special effects class, and that first class was theater makeup. And since at that time I'd already kind of had established myself sort of as a makeup artist, he asked me to fill in for him, the teacher, right after kind of the first round of classes. And it was for the Florida Opera Theater's very first production with the Philharmonic, I think 2009, 2010, of The Medium. And that was kind of my introduction to backstage, and I fell in love.
Because makeup for theater is completely different, right?
It is.
Because you have to be under not that I've ever been under them, but you have to be under heavy lights, so that impacts how it looks on camera, and so the makeup has to be reflective of that.
Right, and it was so much more because it had taken everything that I had kind of ever done in my career to that point, because you can have anywhere from 20 to 40 cast members, and you think, well, then we have 3 rehearsals, 2 performances, and so you think of how many makeup applications that is, how many hairstyles and how many wigs. So then I had to get a team, and then with budgets, then I decided, well, to get that many people for the budget that we had, that I'd have to get students. And so that kind of started, this big backstage coordination, and that's where the love of theater really developed, because I saw that there was a niche and a need for hair and makeup, education and backstage opportunities for artists, even though we're known for tourism and things like that. So the last 7 years...
Well, and I think we've become a city that is embracing the arts, which is awesome. Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center,
right over here.
Right behind us. It's just, Alice is here. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Alice.
Louis Brutus says, need you on our next show.
Done.
See, there you go, Louis. And if you have any questions for Nicole, please ask them. I'm going to try to keep up with this on here. So that led you to opera.
Yes.
But tell them a little bit about that, how you got there before we talk about Opera del Sol.
How I got there. So again, 2007, I was volunteering, or well, not 2009, was volunteering backstage and did 2 or 3 productions as a volunteer. And the following year, the Philharmonic contacted me and asked me to be their hair and makeup designer. And so I think the first production I did was... I'm up to about 30 now.
Wow.
I think it was Marriage of Figaro or one of those, and then Madame Butterfly, which still to this day is one of the biggest productions I had ever done. I think we had 47 cast members.
Wow.
And so 47 people, and then that's a full geisha makeup, full wig, production. So that was kind of...
So you coordinated with hair, too.
Yeah.
Did you have a background in hair, or did you have to work with the hair artist that was there, the hair person?
Right. I had taken a skincare course at Paul Mitchell, and so I had developed kind of a relationship with that school. So that's where I had originally got my volunteers from. But over the years, we now work with Aveda Beauty School. Their mission statement really kind of aligns with who we are. They love to give back. Their products are completely natural, 100% recyclable, and so now we use those students backstage.
And so now you get to the point where I want to have my own business other than makeup.
Yeah.
I want to do something different.
Yeah, so, the last 7 years I've been working in classical music, and you start to realize, I've been trying to get my friends to come to see almost every performance I've ever done. And I'm like, oh, that one song, and so I started to realize, well, what can we do to appeal to people like me, like my friends, because I couldn't even get them to go,
Well, most people are a little bit afraid of opera, if we were all honest, because the language is Italian, mostly.
Or German, yeah.
Or German, and so you don't want to go, and you don't want to feel stupid, and there's no subtitles. Like on a movie.
Or that's what you think, right? So there's all these preconceived ideas, and that's what I decided that, if we wanted to appeal to who was here in Orlando, if I wanted to get those people that I saw on the streets in my seats, that I had to figure out a way to deliver opera and classical music in a way that would appeal to who Orlando is.
Right.
Because classical music right now, opera, our average demographic is about 73 years old. When the downtown Orlando resident, is under 41. So what do we do? So that's where kind of my business brain went and said, I think we got to start over and take this performing arts company and decide to curate my season based on my community, based on the audience of the stories that I think that they want to hear, not necessarily who is already an opera lover, who's already a classical music lover. And we have 400 years, 300 years of stories to tell, and an amazing art form to be able to create new performances. That's where when I started to have these opportunities with all these amazing relationships I made in the city, that I knew that this was possible.
Let's talk about that, because we were talking earlier about the network connection, because we had Jim Hobart on the show yesterday, and Jim and Beth's on there. Make opera sexy again. That's right, Beth.
Trying.
And hi Heidi. Heidi Foster
Learn
said
by
hi
your example,
too.
Beth.
That's right. Learn by your example, Beth. And we're going to have Beth on the show the week of the 11th.
Yes.
So you were talking about how they kind of tell them about the networking that brought you really kind of to where you're at here.
Right. I have to almost all the connections that I have made in Orlando come from Jim and Beth Hobart, believe it or not. About 10 years ago, Beth and I were working second jobs and things, and then I met Jim through Beth, and he had just started Macbeth Photography just at the time that I had decided that I wanted to start a makeup business. And he gave me my first big kind of opportunity doing makeup for photography. And he started with First Friday Photos, and I'm sure lots of you remember First Friday Photos, right? And I would do the makeup, and it started with 30, 40 people in the community every single month. And a lot of opportunities. We went into law firms and advertising agencies, and we would work with 20, 30 people at a time, and that really kind of started my relationship with so many different people in the community, and it all comes from the Hobarts. They're kind of the nucleus
they're
of the
great
city, right?
connectors, and they're very involved. But that's one thing about Orlando that I talk about all the time, but I love to talk about on the show, is that Orlando really is a small town. And if you work on the relationships and work on the connections, that you can find a way to grow your business organically through that. You don't have to spend a ton of money on mailers. I'm trying to think of anybody on my show that would talk about mailers. I don't want to offend anyone. But the relationship, so the networking is
getting
key.
Out there, right?
And meeting new people. And just because you think, and Beth says, so proud of you, but you really made this happen. Just because you think, don't ever prejudge someone that you think they wouldn't be able to help you.
Right.
Because everybody's a potential opera lover, a potential donor, a potential sponsor, or could introduce you to the person who could be a big benefactor or a big ticket buyer or somebody who wants to be involved in whatever you're doing. And it's not just opera, it's any of our businesses. So if you're at a networking event and you don't think it's going to be the people that you want, don't do that. Go up and talk to anybody and everybody and engage, because you just never know.
Well, and I think some of us, the strengths that we may have may be our personality, may be our passion. And so sometimes getting in front of the right person and just telling the story, because, like for me, example, I'm not a classically trained opera singer, and my Italian is really bad, but I feel that I have this ability that I've been able to connect with my performers and be able to connect with my community, and I feel that those relationships, as long as that I can nourish them, that's my strength, and I think that's what I always encourage people, get out there and be involved. I've learned so much by just being involved and helping my friends, and how about being inspired? Right? I think that's the biggest motivator for me, is the people that I have been very fortunate to surround myself with. When you look around and you see that you have members in this community that are, helping to make us a completely green city, or, you see a mayor that's literally out everywhere.
I know. It's awesome.
And so when you see City Hall, that they lead by example, and they're constantly helping those that believe in this community and have dreams and a love that they, I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, but
I agree.
What motivates
me.
And that's a great point. Our city has become, again, a big community. We're really very connected and really want to support each other in all of our efforts. When you had your launch up here, it was the same day that we had Mayor Dyer's birthday. So Mayor Dyer was up here.
He was still here on his birthday, right?
But that's the support that all of our community leaders, I think, give to the projects that we're trying. When I was talking about West Art District over here with Bobby Davidovitz and Gil Ramos, that kind of project gets the same support and love, because they're really trying to build a downtown that has an arts, has more of just being known as downtown Church Street or Disney.
And that was important to me too. I heard those conversations. So we are opening our season in November with an opera, and we're taking it kind of out of a performing arts center and doing something different and putting it inside the orchid garden and taking an opera and setting it in outer space. So where you can still take really cool classical music and these famous arias, because it's kind of almost like a variety show, but then delivering it in a really cool way and showing you that these stories can be translated. I always use Romeo and Juliet as an example.
Right.
Because that is a story that can be told from cavemen to space aliens. And as long as you keep true to the music, I think once you hear the music, it's easy to fall in love with it, but it's how you deliver that story that really matters.
So tell us about the launch. The first one is when and...
Yeah, so we are going to be opening up with an original production called Opera Wars, and we are opening up at the Kennedy Space Center, November 17th and 18th.
What made you choose... That's an interesting venue. Is it because of the size? Is it because of the...
Well, we really wanted to do something different. And the coolest thing is, I think, is we have partnered with the Space Coast Symphony and Orchestra out of Brevard County. And Aaron Collins over there, he's the creative director and the conductor. They have been priding themselves the last few years on doing really kind of out-of-the-box types of productions. And so they have a really great relationship with NASA and Kennedy Space Center over there from being on the coast. And so when we had approached each other, we said that we were going to do our season both here in Orlando and over there.
That's awesome.
So we started kind of thinking of these ideas, and Opera Wars is set on a spaceship. So we started thinking of like, and I love how his brain works. I mean, you guys are going to be so blown away about what we come up with. But then at first we were like, well, we had a cruise ship, you know? And then he was like, what about the Kennedy Space Center? So we're working on exactly which location is going to work for us, because we want to add circus acts and this and curated food and beverages and just take it to a whole nother level. So there's a lot of kind of little details that we have to figure out.
Well, that's huge
before.
to do a big launch like that, and to also do it over there has got to be labor intensive. And
yeah, but luckily it's kind of their hub is there, the Space
Right.
Coast Symphony, so it's kind of we're working from both angles.
So awesome.
And it's only 30 minutes away, and I think it'll be worth it.
And then tell us about your partner in crime.
Jonathan Lee Iverson is my new artistic director, and if you guys do not know who Jonathan Lee Iverson is, he is the last ringmaster from the Ringling Barnum Bailey Circus.
That's amazing.
And that was kind of a really cool way that
How did that come?
apart.
How'd you guys get together on that?
Well, it was kind of really fun. In my elevator speech, I kept saying,
Thanks,
the circus
Charnel.
is closing, Cirque du Soleil is closing, and I think that immersive theater experience, there's a niche, there's going to be a little hole here that I think that we can fill, and I started talking to some aerialists, believe it or not, they hang from the silks, that had worked at Ringling Brothers.
I would break my neck if I tried that.
I think so.
Have you done it?
No.
There's like a whole exercise group of people that do that for exercise.
Oh yeah, and I just want to show to Anti-Gravity down in Kissimmee
Yes.
on Monday, and it was Midnight Summer's Dream, and they added that. It was very inspiring. But I was speaking to this one woman who then the circus closed on May 21st. He and some other circus folks moved here in June 1st. He heard about Opera del Sol. He's also a classically trained opera singer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, so that's kind of, we originally had this conversation because I thought maybe I wanted him to be in Opera Wars. You know what I mean?
Sure.
This, like the captain of the ship singing this,
Well,
opera.
he's got a presence.
And the
very
moment,
strong presence.
The moment he sat down, he sat down with my director of immersive programming and I, and it was like this synergy. I think sometimes in business you have to trust that gut, because we're going to be working so closely together and making something creatively. And it was really great to, as the executive director, and say this is the idea that I have, and then for him to be able to say, well, artistically and with the experience that he has, this is what I believe that we can do,
Right.
and these are the connections that he has, and he did 450 shows a year.
Wow.
He worked for the Ringling Brothers for 18 years. He's performed in front of millions of people, and I'm not a performer. So it's this balance that we were starting to create. I truly believe in it, and I just think
That must be interesting when and I think business owners, please have a sip. You've been talking, and I've just been listening and enjoying it. I know.
I'm passionate. You talk
You're
about
passionate.
opera.
I know. I love it. So, but I think business owners, they have an idea. So you had a passion and an idea, and you decided to make it into a business.
Yeah.
But then, if you have to share it with your baby with someone,
I know.
how did that work? Because I think a lot of people don't entertain partnerships because they think they're never going to understand my vision.
I think really because it was organic. I hadn't thought of him as being the artistic director. It was, these other meetings and hearing and seeing how he reacted to my ideas, and the ideas, kind of some of the ideas he threw at me. And it wasn't until a few meetings later did I even just kind of start to talk to my other teammates and even just like my advisors. And I was like, I just have this very strong feeling that he gets me, that, and it was this perfect timing.
Right.
He's like, I'm kind of done performing, and I'm really looking to create. I'm a classically trained opera singer, and it just organically became this awesome partnership. And I was like, hey, listen, I have this idea, and I asked him, and it wasn't something that I had posted and he had applied to. And I think that's why it was so easy, because it was very organic.
So at her launch here, I have to tell a funny story which I haven't told you yet. So we had it at the club on a Monday night, right?
Right.
And so the club closes and between 5 and 6, and the event starts at 6, didn't it? Or 6:30ish?
It was supposed to start at 5. We were a little delayed, and then everything kind of started.
I
at
saw
6.
everybody moving tables. It was crazy. But then I wasn't paying attention, and then somebody walked in, and I thought, why are they wearing blue gloves? And why are they barefooted? Like, what's happening to the club? Not putting two and two together. So tell them a little bit about that, because that was fascinating.
I know, we should have warned the staff here, because then we had an entire interpretive dance troupe. You know, they were dressed in all white, and they had this really cool idea that they wanted to have a splash of color, and that they had decided to put waterproof paint. So we knew it was going to be crowded. So they had choreographed this entire dance where they could just stand in one spot.
It was so cool. And
just do these dances to the string quartet that was playing. So yeah,
it was amazing. Like, but I just never expected it. So
and that's kind of what we're about, and I'm so glad, you know. And then all of a sudden you see these beautiful, you know, rainbow hands. You know, there was 150 people here. 150. It was.
You had a beautiful launch.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you really did.
Thank you.
So how do we engage? How does the community engage, or how do you engage the community? Because like we talked about earlier, people are afraid. They don't know Italian. They might know Figaro from Bugs Bunny.
Right.
Maybe I'm dating myself, but that's sort of where people get their operas from cartoons, I think.
Well, and I think it's going to be the delivery. What my main goal is to engage the community by taking it to you, by telling the stories that I feel that you want to know, that are going to interest everyone. And that's why we set it in outer space with special effects makeup, because that's kind of my background,
right.
You know. And I'm just going to go out there. I want to talk to this community and make sure that we are known for, you know, curating a season that's based on the needs of who we are as Orlando.
Do you partner with other groups? Do you?
Yeah, so we're partnered with the Dinner Party Project. We are going to offer some 100 VIP tickets for every event that we do with curated food and beverage. So we partnered with them. We're going to do a small show with Publix called Bon Appetit, where it's at the Blue Aprons Cooking School.
Love it.
And they'll cook a 4-course dinner right in front of you, and then we will have a 25-minute Julia Childs opera during dinner.
That's awesome.
I told you, like, there are really cool stories out there. I mean, I bet you didn't know that there was a Julia Childs opera.
I had no idea.
Right? So I think
is it in French?
No, no. You know.
There's the beer kicking in. I love that. No, I think that like all of us, oops, your sign fell. All of us, I don't know where my prop people are to pick that up. All of us here are trying to get more of the downtown community involved. Okay. So if you do you have programs that will be sort of outreach to the community? Because honestly, getting the youth to know about opera and to be able to express themselves through working with Opera del Sol.
Yeah, and that's what one of the things with our artistic director, Jonathan Iverson. He actually grew up with the Harlem Boys Choir. So one of the things that is very, very important to us is to start a boys choir and that music education. And we do. We're in talks with a lot of different people on how we can grow that. And that's one of our major plans for this season, is to start to develop a youth program, you know, around like a boys choir.
That's awesome, because I think that's one thing. We've got jazz, we've got Dr. Phillips, but we don't have music right here. And certainly not opera or classical.
Right, and then I just think once you start to figure out a cool way to deliver it and expose children to it, we can really generate that next generation and that love, and that's really kind of what I am so passionate about. I don't want it to die. You know, when you hear that, you know, the average opera goer is in their 70s, but yet the downtown resident is in their 40s.
Right.
You know, that's. You know, and what do you do? And then also, how do you get the youth involved? Let's start them young before their brains are kind of...
Correct.
And show that, you know, you don't need a microphone. You don't need the internet. You don't need a computer to create beautiful music. And that's what I love about the orchestra and the symphony and opera is it's all organic. And I think in a generation where everything is synthesized and everything is electronic, you know, having people learn about that particular art form is very important. But then also keeping in mind that, you know, a lot of classic music composers are deceased.
Right.
So classic music lovers get 70% of their music online. So there still has to be a way that we can figure out how do we bridge that gap between old and new and deliver it in a really cool way. And
that's awesome.
And that's kind of our whole mission.
And what's your favorite opera?
Madame Butterfly.
Madame Butterfly. So we had Melody Garcia on here. Do you know Melody? Melody Garcia was.
We may have met, and I'm
actually
sorry,
she went. It's all right. She went. She'll be on the show the first, I think.
Okay.
But she was in it, if I'm not correct. Yeah, we're gonna click off in about a minute. Melody was in Madame Butterfly.
Oh, I would love to speak to you.
I think Melody, right? Oh, Miss Saigon too. Hopefully she's here and she could correct me later. We've hit 25 minutes already, which is you're not a motor mouth. It's been so entertaining, and I want more people to. Oh, Tim Rickey says that he was classically trained.
Oh, I saw somebody comment.
That was
That's
him.
Awesome.
That was him.
Contact us.
So let's give the website. I mean,
Yes.
I could talk for hours about this.
Maybe
It's operadelsol.org.
Yes.
Right.
And you can follow us on Facebook, Opera del Sol. And you can email me at nicole@operadelsol.org, because I mean I care about this community and partnerships, and I'd love to hear your ideas, because I mean really that's what this is all about.
Yeah, reach out to her and then continue to post and ask questions on the site and on the video. And thank you guys so much. It was awesome. Oh my God, thank you, honey. Mwah. Have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
It's all right. See, I love that.
Maybe you have to hit
You might have to hit the
the
close
low
button.
battery.
This is us. You got to hit the close button first. This is our $4.99 show.
Yeah, close. Hit.
Oh, that one, that's fine.
There you go.